Well, hello everyone.
We are so glad that you've joined us again. We're always glad that you managed to find us because we don't even know how we can necessarily even find us on Facebook each time. But we're glad you do find us. And we're really thrilled that you're joining us. I'm Sandy Rosen and my husband Russ. And we are the owners, runners of Bez Arts Hub. And we've been doing this live stream simply because we want to make sure that you continue to be aware of all the artists out there, that this is a really challenging time for them in particular, because live performances are not able to be done in our normal context. So we're all getting a little bit creative, and since we can't have you at our venue, we thought it might be fun to let you see our artists up close and personal and actually get a little bit of an idea of who they are behind the scenes, which I like even more. I think that's the best part of this new reality. But Russ, you're going to start with a song.
I'm deciding whether to play the harmonica. This is a song that we do in the Marcus Mosely Chorale, and some of you have seen in the headlines of this event that Marcus is going to be on today. So I thought maybe we should start with something that I get to sing with him on in the choir, and we'll see how it goes. I've got something like this. We'll walk with the rich and talk with the poor. Learn from everybody, 'cause that's what life is for. But don't you ever let nobody drag your spirit down. Don't let nobody drag your spirit down. Well, we're walking up to heaven. Don't let nobody turn you around. Ollie, let's bring Marcus in here.
Well, you might slip, you might slide. Stumble and fall by the roadside. But don't ever let nobody drag your spirit down. Don't let nobody drag your spirit down. Remember, we're walking up to heaven. Don't let nobody turn you around. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Marcus, what a treat to have you with us.
Good to be with you.
Not just because we love hearing you sing. Man, when you sing, your voice fills a space. We had Marcus in our home one Christmas, and Russ was singing, and it was really great until Marcus then got up and started singing, and we realized, wow, now there's a voice. And Marcus, we're just so thrilled. We're not just thrilled that you have come and played at our venue and that Russ has had the privilege of singing in your choir. But we also love that you've become such a dear friend to us. And it has been a real treat getting to know you better and hearing your heart. As always, it's deeply powerful and profound. Yeah, I mean, before we go very far, I thought we'd just kind of start with, your main form of music that you've settled into lately has been gospel. And, it occurred to me that gospel music has had its roots in great adversity. Black gospel music has, and your own story has had its amount of adversity. And I'm kind of feeling like gospel music is a great thing right now for this time. So can you maybe give us your thoughts on why that is, and maybe a bit of your story and how music has connected to that?
Well, gospel music comes out of struggle, out of adversity. It expresses that journey from darkness into light, from bondage into freedom or deliverance. Of course, the experience of Africans who were enslaved and brought to North America is parallel to that same story of the Israelites, the children of Israel, being brought out of out of Egypt, out of slavery, and going into the promised land. Those stories empowered and gave the actual lyrics to spirituals and gospel music. For me, gospel music and the gospel experience of being in a community of people who know that music and who have that experience has, what am I trying to say here? It's when you can put what's going on in your heart into verse, into song, it heals you and it heals those who hear you. One of the things I always say, people are probably sick of hearing it, I've said it all my life, is my main inspiration was my mom, because she always had a song. She always had a song on her lips whenever she was doing anything. And that just taught me a powerful lesson, that music and the voice are tools given to us by God to express our feelings, to express our emotions, to speak to what we're going through, to encourage each other, to worship.
Yeah, well, and I do think that in this time, I mean, it's such a weird time where we're all so isolated, and it's a challenge to even feel like anybody cares about whatever we're experienced, to identify with other people and their experiences, and thus whatever they're feeling too, also caring for us. And I think it's a real back and forth corporate kind of connection,
Well, it's like that. It's like there are the spirituals, like sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home. That expresses, and I think everybody, no matter what your religion, you understand what that feels like. And I think we all we feel that now. I feel it.
Yeah.
But there's also the other side of gospel, which says that soon I will be done with the troubles of the world. That sense of, I will get through this. We will get through this. We will make it through because of who we are and because of who we believe in, who we love.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm preaching.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Actually, I just want to put a little comment on here. It looks like our friend Roxy is using Melanie's computer to put a comment up. But she's just thankful that we're here. Yeah.
You guys. Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
Well, and I think, that's exactly what has been unique about this time, is that it's probably the first time ever in history, maybe not ever in history, but for our history, where we've actually had the opportunity to identify with many, many others in a way that we've never been able to before. And right now in some ways we're all feeling like the motherless child, because we're feeling disconnected and cut off, and so wanting to hug and be hugged and cared for,
Absolutely. I was talking with a good friend of mine. He lives over on Main Island. His name is River. And I thank God for him, because I was having one of those really low times. It's been a real roller coaster. You go from despair, like, oh my God, what's going to happen to us, to, okay, things are good, people are good, and we're going to come through it. But in talking with him, I in between tears, I was saying, I know that fear that we have. I've read these accounts online of people who are sick in a isolation room isolated from their loved ones. They're at the point of death, and they can't touch them, they can't hug them, they can't be with them.
Yeah.
And that's a hard and scary thing.
Yeah.
But we can still, thank goodness for technology, where we can still reach through this machine here and express feelings and say, we're with you in spirit, we can still be there.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that a gift right now in this generation? You know, where wars in the past, you wouldn't hear from your loved one for months and months. And here we still get to have it relatively immediately, and that's a huge gift.
And we are at war with the virus, for sure. It's fun to see the whole world saying, we're going to get this, we're going to kill that thing. And every research lab and all the governments are like, let's kill it. So there is that sense of the whole humanity is trying to solve this problem together. And in the context of that, we're also finding a whole other connection of humanity, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, because what has been normal is never going to come back. We're not going to have what we had before. So I think it's important to first of all, grieve that. Let it go. Grieve it. Realize the world that we knew is not going to come back. So now let go of that, what was, and now imagine and see what's going to happen now. How do we want the world to be different? You know?
Yeah.
How do we want ourselves to be different in the world? And I'm grateful. You two are doing that. You are adapting. You are using technology. You're finding new ways for us to connect with and communicate with our loved ones, with the world. And I think this is just the walking through the front door of it. And thank you for doing this, being pioneers in.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
But let's get you singing a bit more. Do you have a song you wanna give right now that you want to share right now?
How about one of those clips? You want to do that?
Sure.
Yeah, let's bring in the Sojourners clip of O
The video?
The video, yeah. We'll bring that in. This is Marcus is with the Sojourners. It's a well-loved gospel trio, sings all over the world, and he doesn't have them with him in his house today. So we thought
behind me.
Yeah, we've queued up a video from CBC where they were, I think, performed at a CBC event, and this is "Oh Freedom" with the Sojourners.
It was part of Kari McClellan's show, Freedom Singer.
Right.
Yeah.
Which everybody look that up. It's amazing. So
that is a great
it's
show.
a great show. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more weeping. No more weeping. No more weeping. No more weeping. No more weeping over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Yeah. They'll be singing. They'll be singing. They'll be singing. They'll be singing. They'll be singing over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom. Yes. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Really, really powerful. What do you feel when you sing a song like that? I mean, for you, it's probably not just, for most of us, it's just kind of like, oh, that's really a powerful song. But for you, there's a whole history connected to that. How does it make you feel?
Well, first of all, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. First of all, singing with those two guys is an experience. It's like stepping into something that's much bigger and greater than ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're at the privilege of being able to blend the voices together and then to step into history, to step into and draw from our ancestral experience that we share. We all come from different places. I was born in Texas. Will was born in Louisiana. Kari was born in Detroit. But we came through a common experience. I grew up in a church with a church experience. So did Will. Kari didn't. But we all still connect together on the reality, the truth, that the power of those words, before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. It's about faith, courage, and the power of the human spirit to move forward, to the indomitable power of the spirit to rise in the midst of whatever adversity or trial that comes our way.
Wow. And the interesting thing, I heard a psychological study recently saying that those who have that kind of perspective that we can rise, do manage to walk through adversity. One of the quotes from a business lobby group recently is the Churchill comment, "When you're going through hell, keep going." and I think that very much is what people like the African American experience they chose to do, and many have chosen to do.
Absolutely.
And and I'm really grateful that what you're passing on to the rest of us is a connection to that deeper understanding of how to.
Well, that is the power, because the message in the gospel song is universal. Everybody, no matter what your background, where you come from, can identify and resonate with that. There's an interesting article I read. I found years ago. It was written by Brian Eno, of all people, who said that you should go out and be involved in a gospel choir. And he's an atheist, right? But he said you should sing in a gospel choir because of those very things, because you're surrounded by people who are combining their voices, their energy, they're breathing together, and they're singing about things that are bigger and greater, and that, like you said, that we can move forward and overcome adversity. So, yeah, amen, amen, amen.
That's funny. We have a comment here from an old friend, Jim Armstrong. He was missing missing the days, the little gospel services at the end of the church on Broadway. Isn't that nice?
Hallelujah, brother.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And we got a hi from up in Nelson. Nelson, BC is a little ways away from Joey up there. She's saying hi. It's so nice to have people. If you are watching and you want to drop us a note, we might be able to get them on the screen here. It's kind of fun to see the power of this, the connections of this in this kind of media that we're using, which is really fun. If we look down at our phones, it's because we're trying to figure out who's commenting and what's going on. It's kind of fun. We're like, we're supposed to be very focused on the camera, which we are, but we're also like, it's happening. Anyways, it's so fun.
What have you been seeing these last few years? Just about what's been happening in the world, and that you kind of feel like you want to bring to the world around you. What have you been waiting to say to the world? Here's your moment.
I mean, that's actually pretty easy. One of the songs we're going to be sharing from that are taped is from our latest CD. Labor of Love, and the song is You Need Love, and that's the core of the message everywhere. You need it, I need it, you want it, I want it, you've got it to give, and I've got it to give. So nobody in the world should go without experiencing and knowing love. We all need it, we want it, and we have it to give. And let's just do that. Let's figure out how to do that and what that will look like. I know it may sound simplistic, it may sound Pollyanna or flower, overly optimistic, but I think that if we would allow our hearts to really get in touch with that truth, we would change things in a way that would be amazing for us, everybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to try to make you think like I think. I don't want to try to make you believe what I believe. I don't want to try to make you walk a certain way. I just pray that we will be motivated by love, motivated by a higher desire to do better and be better in the world.
Yeah.
That's my message. I've been saying that all my life, and I can't think of anything newer or better to say. Maybe there's fresher, better ways of saying it, right. But it just still comes down to that. You need love, I need love. Let's do that.
Yeah. Well, let's listen to that song then. Let's do that.
Okay. I think we'll still be on screen. We're just going to come in, bring in the audio, and it'll just be underneath. We can sort of groove along here.
So I should pick my nose, right? Right.
I was in my quiet place, that well of hope deep down inside my heart. I heard a word. It was so sweet and clear, it spoke to me of how our lives were meant to be. Well, I'd heard these words before, but this time like an open door I walked through. And this time I knew that I have, and you have, and I want, and you want, I need, and you need love, 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 love. Someone asked the question that if God was truly love, why was there so much pain? So much pain. When ain't no mystery that we are one big family conceived in love, but we've lost our way home. What did we wrong so far? Because I have and you have, and I want and you.
That's great stuff. Yeah, yeah. And that's the in many ways, some of the foundational part of what we've got wrong in our cultures, that we've focused on so many other things, politically, socially, whatever. But as was it Burt Bacharach who said what the world needs now is love.
Is love, sweet love.
That's been true always, and we need to learn to love better rather than a lot of the other things we end up focusing on.
Well, we come from a community of faith that says, what is the greatest commandment? Is to love.
Yeah.
Love God, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And then he even condensed it even lower and just said, the law is written in love.
Yeah.
And we have to find out what that means. We have to walk that through. We have to walk it out in relationship to each other. But that's let love be our motivator. Let love be our not only our motivator, but also our goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right on.
Wow.
What do you feel is the most important part of what you do as a minstrel, song storyteller?
I think the most important thing that I do is listen and try to allow my understanding of God to come through as I sing, as I share, as I talk, as I move through the world. I fail at it so desperately so much of the time. But that's the goal, that's what's important. I'm not a trained musician. I can't sit down and write charts. I just don't have that skill. I don't play instruments in public because I'm not skilled at that enough, I don't think. I have my voice. I can sing and I can speak. And being obedient, being of service as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, I'd add to that, Marcus, that what we find about you is you have a deep, deep capacity for compassion. You are an incredibly compassionate person. And that always comes through just in whatever you sing, that you aren't just performing, that you're actually caring for your audience. And we always feel that. It's really powerful, always.
Well, I thank you. I know what it's like to feel lonely. I know what it's like to feel disconnected. I know what it's like to be in pain emotionally, spiritually, and out of that you learn your lessons. We have our experiences in life, just like now. This is what's going on with us. Remember you did a broadcast a while ago, not calling it a podcast, whatever. And I requested an Andre Crouch song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Remember?
Sorry, we failed.
Yeah. No. It's totally cool because everything else.
Do you know what song we used to sing? Soon and Very Soon. That's the song.
Yes.
That's what it was. I knew that we did one of them, but anyways.
Yeah. But one of the songs that I had in mind at the time, and it still fits now, is I've had many tears and sorrows. I've had questions for tomorrow. There's been times when I didn't know right from wrong. But in my lonely hours, just those precious lonely hours, Jesus let me know I was his very own. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon his word. Through it all, we learn. We experience things, and what we need to do is learn from it, and then we don't have to go through it again.
Yeah.
That's a good plan.
Learn a lesson.
Yeah, exactly. And it's go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I mean, that is the important thing in these times, in times like these, that there's something we're learning from it. I was listening to reading by Brené Brown today, and her just talking about this being a culture where everybody feels as though they have no significance if they can't be somebody extraordinary. And the reality is that we don't have to be extraordinary, that we have as much love and belonging as anyone else, just by being who we are. Even what you said earlier, that we breathe, that there is value. And I think that having so many things taken from us right now in terms of what we can do to prove ourselves, that kind of reduces us to that, to just being able to be who we are, and that is a good thing.
Yeah, you were mentioning, you referred to that just because you breathe. That came from some years ago. I was going through, as musicians want to do, I was going through a financially difficult time. And there's a thing in black culture in the United States called a rent party. And so I had a rent party, and so different friends came, and they'd throw a little money in a bowl, and we'd have music and food and all of that. And I got a letter from a friend of mine, Miss Louise Rose, a wonderful, wonderful person, amazing woman. And in the note there was some money to help me on my way, but all she wrote, she has this amazing, she had calligraphy, right? She has this amazing signature, and it said, "Just because you breathe." Mm-hmm. And that has stuck with me ever since then. Just because you breathe, you deserve compassion and empathy and love and respect and truth. Mm-hmm. You love just because you breathe.
Yeah, right on, right on. Do you have another song for us? Live one?
Yeah, I do. I hope I can do it. I'm going to do my best with it. It's a song by, what's her name? J.J. Geller, I believe is her name, singer-songwriter. And I heard it, I found it on YouTube and just fell in love with it. And then I got together with my partners in crime, Bill Sample and Darlene Cooper Ketchum, and we did an arrangement of it for the choir, and I'll try to do my best with it. This is for the powerless, the wounded, and the weak. This is for the immigrant and those who cannot speak. And if the ground beneath your feet seems unstable, there's a place for you at my table. If you're broken, you are welcomed. And if you're outside looking in, and if you have no place of your own,